Hello and welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
I'm David.
And we are into week 7 of the spring season of 2024, which means we're halfway through the season relatively. The Many Sides of Voice Actor Radio deals with two teenage idol voice actors, Yumiko Sato and Chika Watanabe. Yumiko goes under the stage name of Yasumi Utatane, and Chika goes under the stage name of Yuhi Yugure. Unknown to them, they are actually classmates in high school, but they don't get along with each other due to their conflicting personalities. Even though both of them present themselves as pop idols for their voice acting careers, Yumiko is a bubbly and cheerful gyaru, and Chika is a dour and isolated kind of loner. They go along with a radio producer's idea once he finds out that they're classmates to have their voice actor personalities do a radio program together where they talk about them being friends in school, even though they're not friends. The radio program forces the two conflicting personalities to work together in intimate times and spaces, and through a series of challenges, they begin to develop a mutual respect and appreciation for each other that's starting to turn into friendship. As their show was lagging and in danger of being cut, a scandal broke out around Chika, where a series of photos were posted online purporting to show her as sleeping her way into some of her voice acting roles. Yumiko makes a drastic decision to try to save her co-worker's career by coming clean about their fake personas as voice actors, showing off who she really is to try to give some gravity to what she's saying as she's defending Chika against the accusations of casting couch. That, along with some other circumstances behind the photos, work to alleviate that problem. Unfortunately, she's created an entirely bigger problem by now ruining the facade of their pop idol identities. Instead, the girls are choosing to present themselves in a way that's closer to what they're like in real life. So as we move into episode 7, they are still dealing with the fallout from their fans who loved them because of their artificial pop personalities. So episode 7 starts us off in a place we've been before, where the two girls are kind of enjoying a day out in the town. This time it's not actually for a segment of their radio program, they're just for once enjoying spending time together. In the course of their day, they end up running into Meguru, who, as before, lays into them pretty heavily and kind of verbally assaults them for what they've done to themselves and the danger that they may have exposed the other voice actors to by exposing the lie that a lot of voice actors use with their fake personas. This hits Chika pretty hard, and she begins to dwell on possibility that she's going to have to take a 1.5 year break from voice acting, and wonders if it would even be worth it to return to the career at that point, figuring she probably would lose all of her fan base with that long of a delay. The next day, or maybe a couple of days later, the two girls are doing their first public appearance since the scandal unfolded and all of the trouble has been brewing, along with Otome, to promote the anime that the three of them are doing together. While nervous about the situation and dealing with the public, everybody's responses are generally positive. As the event's winding down, a young girl shows up who is very exuberant and gushes over them quite dramatically. While she's talking with Yumiko at the end of the table, she talks about how she's disappointed and misses Yumiko's previous identity as the pop personality. Yumiko stops her before she walks off because Yumiko wants to continue this conversation and follow this thread of thought that the fan is exuding. But something clicks in her and she realizes it's Meguru in disguise. She doesn't want to expose Meguru, so she kind of whispers to her to meet her and Chika in a cafe that's on a different level of the building that they're doing the meet and greet. So we shift to that, we find the two girls meeting with Meguru, and we get to see another side of Meguru, a very bubbly, childish,
fangirl,
enthusiastic attitude. She's a huge fan of Yasumi Utatane and Yuhi Yugure, which she talks about how crushed she has been as a fan that Yumiko destroyed those versions of their voice acting personality. Meguru loved their pop idol personas, and she represents the devastated fan that feels betrayed and let down by the change in personalities. This revelation hits the girls kind of hard, And they're like, all right, let's get together with the writer. We'll put together a video package and we'll get it sent out. And it will be an apology to our fans to reach out to the ones who feel like Meguru does, that are very disappointed in the change of personalities with their beloved voice actors, to apologize to them and say, we understand your feelings and we really want you to still be on our side. And then in the same message, they set up the challenge. Challenge is to go from school to the nearest train station in the hopes that nobody interacts with them. And if that happens, they can continue being voice actors. If anybody talks to them, it's over. They both have to quit. So the day comes, they're at school, and Chika's mother is there as an arbiter, and they go on. And there's people everywhere. There's people waiting outside of the gate, but it's been that way since everybody knew where their school was, because everybody's been trying to get photos. So they always dress up in costumes to escape school. And they get pretty far without anybody interacting with them. They get to a shopping arcade, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like a small arcade district thing.
Yeah, they're pretty close to the train station, and somebody steps out into the crowd. Like they're ready to
end their career.
Yeah, like they have a complaint they wish to air. Another person from the crowd intercepts them. And then we keep seeing this over and over and over again. And it's almost as they get to the end goal, this super angry fan shows up, the mini boss. And then out of nowhere, Meguru comes and distracts him, and they kind of sumo wrestle a little bit. And then Meguru directly talks to the girls, and the girls push forward, and everybody is emotional and happy, and it looks like Chika's mom is gonna let the rules she laid down go to the wayside because we need to progress the plot, I guess. And that's when the episode ends. So the episode ends with the girls appearing to succeed in their challenge, even though they really didn't. And I thought the challenge was pretty bad. Everything leading up to the challenge is like, well, no, okay, let me back that up. Meguru being the bubbly, psychotic fangirl is bad. It was annoying.
Yeah.
It was unpredictable. It completely...
As soon as Meguru walked up to the girls, I was like, is that Yubasaki?
Oh, I knew it was her the minute she showed up.
Right. Like, my brain went, that's her.
Yeah.
And then she started talking, I'm like, oh my God, it's her. Oh my God, why is she talking so fast?
It undermines all of her previous interactions with them. It's bad. Oh my God, I was so mad that they did that. It is what it is, though. But...
It is what it is.
I was like, okay, this is kind of bad, but whatever. We don't know how old Meguru is. It seemed in the previous episode, as Yumiko was trying to, spend time with her, that Meguru may be at least old enough to drink. In one of the things that Meguru was talking about.
I think that was a comment, that she is old enough to.
Yeah. So Meikuru's an adult.
Yeah.
Yet she acts like she's 10 suddenly. So we go from Meguru, the one personality who is trying to be proactive and not coddle the two girls for the mistake they made.
To a degenerate fangirl.
It was all a facade. Not necessarily a facade, but...
yeah, I mean...
She's a weeb for them.
People can be weebs, Steve.
So...
I'm just kidding.
I thought that this was going to be the weakest point of the episode. And then we get to the challenge and how blatantly terrible the outcome of the challenge was. There were 3 instances before the last one.
Oh, yeah.
Where a random hater comes out and somebody else distracts them. And then you get, as they keep pushing forward, you get background conversations of, I'm not talking to you, but blah, blah, blah. It's like, this is so dumb.
Yeah, realistically, though, there was probably almost no way that they could do that appropriately. People fucking suck. And there was going to be no way that they could handle... There's no way that...
I knew...
This is as close to realistic as you could possibly get without them just failing in the show ending.
Deus Ex Machina.
Yes. Unfortunately, Deus Ex Machina exists.
Yep. And then the last segment where we have Meguru actually talking to them as Chika's mother is observing.
Yeah, just hanging in the background, which...
And
Chika's mother, she put them in a really dangerous situation.
Yeah, she did. She didn't intend for it to even happen in the first place. She said it to Yumiko as a thought exercise of, you don't think this is a problem that people know where we live? How about you put yourself in danger and see what happens and how you about how the public feels about you? That was the entire intent of everything. And then it just snowballed into, well, we're actually going to do this for real.
I mean, the fact that she let it happen
Yeah.
is recklessly endangering a child.
Thinking that it would be okay if she was just hanging out in the background watching anyways.
Yes. Sure, it was a joke at first, but she's actually letting it happen, and that is reckless endangerment of a minor.
One would be amazed in how quickly sheltered otaku can move with a box cutter in their hand.
Exactly. And like, this was real life. That was the United States. And something like that happened, the mother would be charged with reckless endangerment.
Yes.
She would lose possession of her child
Correct.
in the United States.
Well, if her child survived.
Right.
Yeah.
We're assuming that the same outcome happens and the girls
Correct.
make it.
Yeah.
And they get to the train station. Reckless endangerment, psychological abuse, emotional abuse.
Yeah.
There's one more charge that I had come up with looking at United States, because I was like aghast, and I looked at laws. She committed some pretty serious fucking crimes by letting those girls do that.
Yeah.
At least in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Japanese laws. I would assume they're relatively similar.
Yeah, I don't know enough, honestly.
And like, she would lose possession of her child.
Yeah.
It like, go to jail, do not collect $200. Chica's going to live with her dad.
Yeah.
Like, the judge would have a field day.
Yep.
In seconds.
Not only does the entire situation just smell of hand-wringing, then the culmination of it as everybody breaks down in joy and wonder as the girls make it to the station to not actually win. Everybody's moved with emotion, so the only conclusion is Chica's mom is moved with emotion too, and she's just gonna let it continue because she's filled with the love of their fans.
I hate Chica's mom.
It was the episode that I was afraid it was going to be, but then it threw me the hook of Makeru being a obnoxious fangirl.
Being an otaku.
I guess the final thing to say about Seiyuu Radio is we can only go up from here. But
Ideally, yes.
We don't have a pathway set for us for what the next arc of the story is going to be.
Right, because they resolved the we'll call this the casting couch arc.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, they might just drag it more into the future. But it could be.
I'm hoping we have resolved the casting couch arc. And we are now moving into the second half of the season.
Rebuilding their...
Maybe we'll get a new opening.
No.
They like to do that sometimes.
Yeah, they don't...
They like resolve an arc, and then you get a new opening.
You think this show has the money to get new openings?
That's where all the money probably went with the fucking terrible artwork. Remonster follows the story of a man named Tomokui Kamata, as he, in the very first episode, is murdered by a woman who is ferociously stabbing him, and then he gets reincarnated into a fantastical world where he is reborn as a goblin. He figures out that he retains his memories of his past life, and he retains abilities that he had in his past life, that whenever he consumes something, he gains abilities from it, specifically living things. And actually inanimate objects as well, it turns out. So he goes about this new world, leveling up and gaining abilities by consuming whole sorts of different creatures, and along the way makes several friends in his goblin compatriots. He then levels up and becomes a hobgoblin, along with his best friend, Gabkichi, and continues to level up, gain more powers, rinse, repeat, levels up again, becomes a ogre, and forms his own warband called Parabellum. This group becomes a mercenary group for hire, in which they get hired by the elves to help defend them from the humans who are attacking them. Hilarity ensues as Parabellum ruthlessly destroys anything that ever gets in its way, and get some pretty gross, disgusting, sexy sex stuff, and that's pretty much it for this series. Lots of leveling up, lots of fighting, not much of an overarching story. It's a power fantasy. I don't really know if there's anything else to really describe about it.
No, probably not.
Is that a fair overview?
Yeah, guy finds himself in a different world, decides
and just roid rages out.
Yeah, tests the limitations and the rule set of the world, and begins to exploit them for personal gain and profit.
Oh my god, he's like every MMO player ever.
Yeah.
Every degenerate MMO player ever that finds an exploit and just like All right, I'm max level.
He came with the exploit, though.
Yeah, right. Like, granted, he is the exploit.
He is the exploit.
It's like every MMO player that finds an exploit and just fucking runs with it. That leads us into episode 7. Luckily, a lot less sweet dick music this episode, but a lot of just really boring fighting. Ogurou and Parabellum end up going and fighting another group of humans after being told by the High Elf King that they need to kind of just start winning this war. And so they go and they're fighting this group of humans, and the humans have brought out their secret weapon. Their secret weapon being 7 people that are blessed by the gods of this realm, that each have a specific blessing from a specific god. They're called the something Braves.
I think it's just the Braves.
Sure. They're the 7 Braves that humanity has as their kind of ultimate heroes that they use only in the most dire of situations and are deployed whenever the situation is basically unwinnable. The Brave that ends up going and fighting Ogurou is a Brave that has the power over insects and has many insect-based attacks within their arsenal. Name not important. It might be important. I will figure out his name later if he keeps showing up. Really cares. And Ogurou and this Bug Brave end up fighting. It's pretty boring. It's literally like, here's my stupid superpower. And then Ogurou goes, here's my stupid superpower. And then the Bug Brave goes, here's my even stupider superpower. And then Ogurou's my even stupider superpower.
It's the whole thing of...
it's literally a dick measuring contest.
You take off the weighted jacket and then like, here's my power. Like, this is only half of my power. Let's keep going.
Yeah, exactly. It's just this massive dick measuring contest.
Oh, I was fighting with my left hand, but I'm right-handed.
Exactly. It's like it's the scene in Princess Diaries.
Princess Bride.
Princess Bride, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the scene where this is actually my left hand or my right hand, and I'm actually right-handed, and blah 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 blah.
Except it wasn't done as a joke.
Yeah, it wasn't done to be funny.
It was done to follow standard shonen battle tropes.
Yeah, and so this battle ensues. Ogurou wins because the Brave just realizes he can't win and runs off. And then we find that one of Ogurou's replicants has taken the healing a copy of the healing potion, which is probably his blood, to the heir to the human throne, and basically is like, here's the cure for the princess. Let's end this war and just be done with it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we get a little bit of political intrigue in this.
So we get this tiniest little bit of political intrigue, and then the episode ends.
Yep. It was.
I hate this show.
It was really boring. We had more battle with the humans, and like you could. It even looked like they were bored. And then Ogurou faces the Bug Boy. It is the most obnoxious trope of the innocent-looking little kid is like this super powerful being, and then Ogurou is just fighting as if he has no abilities.
I know. It's like, where's his fucking stupid spiderweb thing? Where's his stupid fucking... Where's any of his... Where's his spear thing?
He's facing...
You know his spear that he throws and it automatically hits?
Oh, yeah. Like he did in the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, where the fuck did that go?
So that... I was quite impressed when he just sucking chest wounded the dude that was sitting in that camp with his spear.
Oh yeah, the guy's like drinking the tea.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden there's a hole through his torso, and then the spear, like, because it has contact with the ground, it can then create unlimited copies in a 50-meter radius or something like that.
I will admit that was kind of cool.
It was fun. It was cool.
But like, where the fuck did that spear go? Where was it when he was fighting the Brave?
For whatever reason, he decided that I'm just gonna do this.
I'm gonna do this one arm tied behind my back.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this with like a basic weapon and naked against what is theoretically the most dangerous being I've faced yet in this reality.
It's like it's like the raider that you have in an MMO that's like, I can do this run naked.
It's like the main character from
Shangri-La Frontier.
From Shangri-La Frontier, yeah.
Right. Even in MMOs that I play World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
There are people that fucking do that shit. They'll be like, I'll run this dungeon naked because I can do it.
I'm so powerful, I'll just do it basic.
And you're like,
that's what Ogurou does. And it only seemed to serve the purpose of maybe he was trying to get an idea of what abilities he would get from the guy. I don't know. You could just eat him and get his abilities and figure it out. I think there were two reasons he was doing it. Well, I think there were two reasons that it happened. One, the direction or the original material just decided, let's make something a little bit flashy, kind of. Let's go with something that's expected instead of all this dialogue-ish combat.
yeah.
And then I think, story-wise, I think Ogurou was just testing the waters to see what this super powerful being was actually capable of.
Maybe. But it was still disappointing.
It was really bad. It was boring. It was so boring.
And he has the creepy mentality of like, oh, my bugs. And you're just like, oh.
Yeah, the little kid was such a terrible caricature.
I hate those fucking characters in anime that are like the intentionally like creepy, like they make me feel just gross.
He's a creepy Shota.
Yes. There's lots of like, and like Demon Slayer in the Mugen Train arc.
Okay.
There's the demon that is the demon of the titular Mugen Train.
Okay.
That is fucking creepy, and it creeps me out every time.
Okay.
Because of just the way he acts and talks, and it's just like there's a line in it that it makes me, my very dear friend who I've referenced many times in this podcast, who will probably be joining us for a future side quest. It's always oh, you're inside me right now, because he's like the demon is possessing the train, and they're inside the train, and he makes this comment, and we're both just like, yuck.
It's a low-hanging joke.
And I'm just like,
It's astounding how far the bar could be lowered with this episode of Remonster when there wasn't anything morally objectionable.
I didn't think the bar could get any lower for this show.
I'm not saying that it excuses the morally objectionable things that he's done in the past.
I'm not saying that either. I thought the bar was already on the ground, but apparently there was more ground to give.
Yeah, no. The show continues to just go into a death spiral of it shouldn't exist.
I regret picking this show.
Look, we're halfway through. You'll get there.
I'm not picking another isekai.
We'll get there. We don't know what else is gonna come out for the summer season.
It's just gonna be only isekais, and I'm gonna cry. maybe there'll be a decent shonen.
Astro Note is the story of unemployed chef Takumi Miyazaki, who applies to what seems like a promising advertisement for a breakfast cook at a place called Astro Lodge. He arrives to disappointedly find a rundown Showa-era apartment building of sorts. Before he can leave or enter, he hears a commotion coming from the side of the building, runs around the corner and finds a woman hanging perilously from the roof. She falls and he breaks her fall. So the woman lands on him. She has a dog, a rather ravenous full-size poodle that attacks him, and she brings him inside of the lodge to apologize and address his wounds. When he mentions that he's here for the job interview, a variety of the house's residents pop up to question what's going on. Long story short, the woman who fell off of the building, her name is Mira, and she is the manager of Astro Lodge, which is a share house. She has recently become the manager of it, as she showed up at the right time shortly after its previous long-lived manager had passed away. One of the duties in Astro House is to provide breakfast for all the tenants as part of their rent agreement. Mira is really terrible at cooking, and so the residents have been pressuring her to find a replacement. Takumi is a professional chef who previously had worked at a high-scale restaurant in a hotel that had gone into bankruptcy. So he's looking for another professional position as a chef. The fabricated help wanted ad kind of doesn't fit the bill for what reality would be like of him working as the breakfast cook at Astro Lodge. He feels bad for everybody, sees that there's some fish that need to be cooked up, and kind of makes them a quick meal to help them out, which floors everybody. They're like, this is amazing. We need to make him work here. So everybody works to get him to take the position, even though it's not necessarily his thing. And his growing infatuation with the manager Mira convinces him that he is going to start working at Astro Lodge. There's a problem, though. Mira is a space alien. And the dog is a space alien as well, who just happens to look like a poodle. They've come to Earth in search of a key of some sort, which is a symbol of her peoples that will give her the right to claim the throne, as she is a princess for a group of aliens called the Weedo. The rest of the story deals with Takumi trying to court Mira, not even thinking that she's an alien or anything unnatural, just thinking that, it's a normal situation that he has to overcome. There's misunderstanding as he overhears some conversations and doesn't realize what's happening and thinks she's a widow. As he's getting closer to some sort of success, a man shows up named Shoin Ginger, who claims to be her fiance, but in reality is a childhood friend from her people's planet, and he's come to help her in her quest. So while Mira and her dog, who is really kind of her minder, and Shoin search for this key before this group of antagonist aliens called the Hubbies, who are apparently from planet Hub. Mira's on a race against time because there are other peoples that are working to stop her from getting the key, or just to get the key themselves to try to lay claim to the throne. Mira's mother has ties to Earth that Mira learns from a message her mother sent that pretty much details that the previous manager of the Astro Lodge is actually Mira's father, so Mira's half human. Meanwhile, Takumi is still stressing and freaking out about whether or not he will be able to entertain some sort of romantic relationship with Mira, even after he discovers that she's an alien. And at the same time...
She's half human, it's okay.
At the same time, one of the other residents of the lodge, this woman named Aoi, is stalking Takumi. Which leads us into episode 7, where we see Aoi and Takumi go on their date to the bug-eating festival. In the beginning, we get we essentially get an exposition flashback of Aoi's past. She moved to Tokyo when she was 18, got a job at the restaurant, working as a server, was living in their dorms, was terrible at it, couldn't interact with any of her co-workers, so pretty much was a loner. One day she's eating lunch on the roof of the building, listening to a radio program she really loves, where people write in. Takumi comes out, finds Aoi, and Aoi starts to like him right away. They converse very easily. They idle chatter. They talk about the shared enjoyment of the radio program.
I'll say that was the key for her, was that they both really liked the show.
Yeah.
And that's how he started the conversation with her.
Yeah, because she was listening to her phone really loud. Not loudly, but in public.
Yeah, their shared enjoyment of that show.
Yep.
Allowed them to kind of have that connection that allowed Aoi to immediately
enjoy his presence.
Yeah, immediately enjoy his presence and start to sprinkle the seeds of I like you.
Yep. She doesn't really run into him anymore throughout her career at the restaurant, but she uses him as motivation to improve herself within her job. And then sometime down the road, she ends up getting a letter she writes into the radio program read, which means that she'll receive a sticker kind of commemorating that. Because in their initial conversation, they were kind of complaining about how they both write into the show, but their letters never get read. So she brings it excitedly to work to show him, only to find out that the hotel and restaurant have closed due to bankruptcy.
Yes.
She's all alone in Tokyo with nothing to do, can't stay at the dorms anymore. So she's living on the streets.
Yep, homeless, jobless.
Until Tasuke finds her. Recap, Tasuke is Mira's father, who is the previous manager of Astro Lodge. Doing what Tasuke does, as far as we know, he
finds people in need.
So he finds Aoi hiding from the elements in a playground.
And shitty people.
And brings her to Astro Lodge and sets her up for a little bit more stable life. Cut forward. Now Aoi is enjoying her date with Takumi. They're eating all sorts of different bugs. Meanwhile, Mira and Shoin...
Which you are forgetting a very important reason as to why she asked him to this. In their first initial meeting, Takumi makes a comment about how a good chef can make anything taste good, and that bugs are even explored by gourmet chefs.
So she didn't know that what she was eating was snail until afterwards?
Yes.
And in her revulsion of it, he tries to soothe her misconceptions and then brings up the bug thing and how he wants to try bugs. So she's carried this memory years into the future. So, hold on. There's something we need to address here with the timeline. The show, as far as we understand it, just rewrote its timeline.
Yes, everything that happened exists because Aoi made it happen.
No, not that. we came into the show, and maybe it's just my own perception, but we came into the show with the understanding that Takumi had recently lost his job, and that's why he was coming to the Astro Lodge.
Oh, yeah.
But that place has been closed for perhaps 2 or 3 years.
Maybe he was odd jobbing?
I don't know.
I mean, unemployment can last multiple years.
Though, okay, so I rewatched the beginning of the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more of a misconception that he had just recently lost that job, because the reference to that place was right in the beginning. Tomohiro was looking at his CV and mentioned, oh, hey, that place.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have a timeline. In episode 1, there's a translation of his CV. So Takumi was born in 97. He graduated high school in 2016, graduated technical school for cooking in 2018, and began his job at the Grand Park Hotel in 2018. It shut down in 2002.
2022?
Sorry, yeah, 2022.
And this show takes place in 2024.
We don't know.
Okay.
Let's assume it takes place in today.
2024.
Okay. Which means that
it's spring of 2024.
So Aoi ended up at the Astro Lodge in the fall of 2022, so a year and a half ago, which would mean that both Teruko and Tomohiro and Ren have lived there less than a year and a half.
I thought Tomohiro...
No. Aoi had been there longer than them, according to the conversation.
They accidentally made a plot hole.
Yeah, there's a weird inconsistencies. But anyways,
that's not a huge detraction.
No.
They go about and are enjoying this bug festival.
Meanwhile, Mira and Shoin and Naosuke are digging holes in the yard trying to find the key. And a package arrives with some produce, and Mira calls for Takumi. And Naosuke goes, oh no, he's not here. He's on a date with Aoi. And so then we see the deeper thought process of Mira, and she doesn't like that they're on a date. It bothers her to the point where she digs herself a really, really deep hole. Because
she literally starts digging a hole to the United States.
She's focused on her dislike of a potential relationship between
the two of them. Yeah,
between the two of them.
Yeah, when she started doing that, I was like, oh, somebody's jealous.
Yeah.
And then she finds out that they're at this bug festival.
Shochiki comes out, and he's dressed in a bee outfit.
Scares the shit out of Mira.
Yeah. He tells her that he's carrying on the previous 10. So, okay, I needed to clear something up with the last episode. When I was saying her father, no one knows that he's her father, aside from all of the aliens and Takumi if he was paying attention.
Right.
So none of the other residents know that Mira is related to the old manager. I just used her father as shortness because I didn't want to keep remembering Tasuke's name. Anyways. Shochiki is carrying on a tradition that Mira's father used to do, where he was the judge of the culminating event of the bug contest that happens every year, where it's this eating contest. So he is carrying on that duties this year because he won't be there this year because he's dead.
The Wasp pupae.
Yeah, it is a eating contest to see how many bowls of wasp pupa the contestants can consume. So this kind of gets Mira and Shoin to be interested in checking out the festival, so they head off.
Well, Mira uses it as an excuse to go to the festival
to spy on
Takumi
and Aoi. Pretty quickly, they run into the pair.
It's important to mention that Aoi was trying to jog his memory with her sticker.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So Aoi brought the sticker with her from the radio program because she's a bit perturbed that Takumi does not remember her, even though there was literally one direct exchange a couple of years earlier. She shows him the sticker, and he's like, I used to listen to that show, and then is pretty much disinterested and immediately gets distracted because he sees Mira and then calls them over. So Aoi is destroyed at this point.
Yes.
To make matters worse, the old woman shows up and she doesn't stop. She begins talking about how good of a couple Mira and Shoin are, and then how good of a couple Takumi and Aoi are, until she gets distracted by a food stall and wanders off and creates layers upon layers of misunderstanding, confusion, and concern between Aoi, Takumi, and Mira. Shoin's there because he's just there. He doesn't.
Shoin gives 0 fucks.
He has no
All he cares about is finding the key and getting Mira back to...
Yep, he's just there to help his
lead.
childhood friend. Immediately, the contest for eating wasp pupa shows up, and there's a key. The key is the grand prize.
Don't forget Teruko's amazing performance.
Oh, that's right. They get distracted because Teruko is holding they're like, we know this song. They immediately pop off to a performance stage to find Teruko performing as her idol personality, singing about sending her lovely right hook.
Yep.
I
love her song.
They join in because, they're all fangirls of her. And
I love Ren and Tomohiro with the pink...
With the glow sticks.
Pink glow sticks.
And the fact that Mira and Takumi don't have glow sticks, but they're still shaking their hands like they have glow sticks too.
That was adorable. That was an adorable interaction.
They were the only ones celebrating her?
Towards the end, there were people...
There were some, in the beginning,
background.
It was just the 4 weirdos that live with her.
Yeah.
That leads directly into the pupa eating contest. There is a key.
Shochiki had...
This giant key.
He has this giant key, and Mira's like, a key!
Yep.
From my dad!
And Takumi goes,
a key!
I'm going to win that for Mira.
And so they team up.
It's a pairs challenge. One person eating, the other one assisting them. So they pair up. The old woman pairs up with some random woman, and they start eating and eating and eating and eating. And Teruko is emceeing the event.
Yeah, she's like the judge / announcer /
the hype man
/ antagonizer.
Yeah, and she is describing the partnership of Takumi and Mira as lovers.
The lovers.
The lover pair versus the old women pair.
Yeah.
And, no surprise, Takumi wins by a technicality of sorts.
Single pupae.
He ate 101 bowls of larvae.
And the old lady also ate 101.
But she left one.
Yep, she left one, so that disqualified that bowl.
Yep.
And so he won by a literal bowl.
Yep.
A literal pupae.
They find out that the key is just cardboard and decoration, and the real prize was a motorized scooter, which they didn't want to deal with, so they just gave it to the old woman.
Who really, really wanted it.
Really, really wanted it.
And it made her very happy.
And now she's going to be even more obnoxious, I feel.
Yeah, she's now motorized.
She's motorized. Everybody is happy except for Aoi, and they head back to the hotel. They head back to Astro Lodge.
And then Aoi has a flashback, literally causing the first episode.
We get to see, and that's one of the reasons I rewatched part of the first episode. Aoi is directly responsible for Mira falling onto Takumi,
which initiated the whole show.
Yep. And his infatuation with Mira.
Yes. Because he was about to leave.
Correct.
If he hadn't have heard Mira,
the cries of help from around the corner.
So
to come to find Mira dangling from the roof.
Aoi's basically just like, this is all my fault that they're even like
together in space with each other. But at the same time, it's also brought him to Aoi's sphere of influence as well. But she very much realizes that she's losing to Mira.
Oh yeah, super losing to
and
Mira.
She's really sad about it, and it's really touching.
Yeah, the end of that episode was pretty sad. And
she's got tears running down her face.
It was really hard last recording because I had watched this.
Oh sure.
And then you were like, "We need to re-record," and I was trying so hard to not like key into any of the things you were saying. Is like, "Oh, you're right."
Yeah.
Because you had said a couple things and you were like exactly on the nose, and I was like, "Oh fuck, he's like super right," but I can't say anything yet because I got to pretend like I haven't seen this episode yet.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
It was a very good episode. I really liked it.
The background exposition with Aoi's past felt a lot more natural and a lot more interesting than Mira's mother's exposition in the previous episode.
Yeah, because it directly involved characters that are still alive and that we care about. Tasuke, we've only ever seen through flashbacks. We have very little interaction with him.
Because he's dead.
And we don't really care. And we don't really care about Mira's mother.
No, we definitely do not care about Mira's mother.
Because those two are either dead or not on the planet.
Correct.
But because we're having a flashback with Aoi and Takumi, we care about their interaction. Their past interaction.
It was really good to finally get a lot of the questions answered about her.
Yes.
And her motivations.
Yeah. Instead of just that expositional zoom in on the award photo.
Yeah.
That showed that she was at that hotel too.
One thing I forgot to mention is that when Naosuke had mentioned that them being gone for the date, he realized that this would be a perfect opportunity for him to spy in their rooms. And Naosuke finds the thing, finds that photo, and clues into the idea that that was Aoi as well.
I forgot about that too. That wasn't a huge part of the episode.
No, but it was an interesting part.
Right. It was easy to forget. Is what I'm trying to get at.
True. No, this is a really strong episode, I feel.
Yeah, I really liked this one.
I'm waiting for Teruko's story.
I know, I really want her
and
story.
Tomohiro. I want to understand what Tomohiro's situation is.
Yeah, I want to know why he is so set on being a deadbeat.
Where's Ren's mom?
Maybe dead.
No, this feels like a Ranma 1/2 situation. So Ranma 1/2, the whole catalyst is Ranma's father is a deadbeat piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And goes against all of his wife's desires and just does what he wants to and is raising his son to be a deadbeat.
Okay.
It feels like Tomohiro is fleeing Ren's mother.
Maybe.
That's what it feels like.
He's been very stationary for a very long time if he's trying to flee a mother.
Well, maybe a year. It might just be a year.
That's fair.
And he may not even be from Tokyo.
True. That's also
But if we don't get their background, we won't know. We don't know how important they're going to be.
It does sound like Ren, though, has been in Tokyo for a while longer because he seems to have friends at school.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like good friends that he's known for a while.
Quite possible.
So,
who knows?
Just
speculation.
I would like to get the backstory for the two of them, just so we can finally.
Hopefully, we will.
Hopefully, maybe we'll get a combo episode where we get the backstory for both of them. Because I don't think they'd spend a whole episode for both or for each.
Maybe. I don't know. We spent like 3 episodes with Ren.
Right, but there was other things
there was
unfolding.
You're right.
That like keyed in Aoi and
correct
and all this other stuff.
You're right.
The surface to man missile.
One thing that we ended the episode with as well is the reemergence of the amorphic being that works for the hubbies.
I'm not gonna lie, that jump scared me a little bit.
The thing that has assumed the form of a squid that came from the robotic pelican is seen reconstituting itself in the cellar amongst all of the bottles of plum wine.
Mm-hmm.
So the hubbies are making a move again. We'll see what happens in episode 8 with that.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be fun. They need to explain what the hubby thing is too.
I know. I wanna know what they are.
I wonder. So we know that the person Mira's mother was betrothed to in her youth was an entirely different species.
Yes.
I'm wondering if the hubbies are that species.
Maybe. Question.
Yeah.
When you rewatched the first episode,
yeah,
did it show who was in the spaceship?
No, but it's pretty much it's definitely the same sequence.
Okay.
It's definitely Mira's mom that they show in that intro point.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, no, it is. It has to be. There's no way it's not.
I think the old art style was trying to key us in.
Yeah, maybe.
That this happened
in the past. And wasn't Mira. The more I think about it, the more I think that Mira wasn't fleeing anybody to Earth. She was sent on a mission with her mom's approval to come to Earth to try to find the key.
Yeah. With
Naosuke as the minder and guardian.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think she wasn't fleeing anybody like we first thought. A little misdirection in that first episode on us.
Which I like.
Which is good. Right. So Seiyuu Radio was kind of a low episode. Hopefully it can only go up from here with whatever next arc we're going to move into.
Hopefully. Remonster is continuing to disappoint.
Continuingly miserable.
And Astro Note just keeps throwing out heavy swings. Home run after home run, in my opinion.
With all the shows I'm watching this season, Astro Note is the best show. Probably followed closely by Jellyfish Don't Swim Alone. Or Jellyfish Don't Swim at Night. Yeah, Astro Note is far superior to that one, though. But Jellyfish is really good, too.
Astro Note, in my opinion, has been almost consistently home run after home run.
It's such a fun show that it just seems like everybody involved in it is putting a lot of love into the show.
This will definitely be within my top 10 for the year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's such a good show.
We still have two more seasons.
2 more seasons to get through after this.
But like it's in the top 10.
It's so good. Animation is great. The characters are great. The story is
Out of this world.
it's so fun. Nice. There's really no low points in the story.
Not that I can really think of.
No, it's so fun.
Like there's a slow episode, but still I feel like
the
those
only
slow
part of the episode would be slow.
And right, and I feel like the slow parts are still necessary because we have no background information.
Yes.
Like in a story where there is no supplementary material, background information is important.
Astro Note is another prime example of why more original anime should be greenlit for production.
Yes.
Instead of just relying on something that exists in manga or light novel or even a video game primarily as a way to boost sales of other products.
Right.
There's so much love put into Astro Note, and I think it really pays. It's paying off so far.
I really enjoy it.
Yep.
It makes me very happy.
Oh, anything else?
I look forward to seeing how Remonster can disappoint me next week.
That sounds like a challenge.
It's gonna meet that challenge. It's gonna do it. It's gonna disappoint me.
Yeah.
I just want to know how it's gonna disappoint.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave comments and all that jazz.
Stay away from that sweet dick music.
Stay away from Ogurou's sweet dick music. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.